So, hi, good morning, Supradeep. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Good
Welcome
morning,
to my channel.
Vikas. Thank you so much.
So, can we start with a small introduction from you of what
Sure,
you're doing here?
sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Supradeep Banerjee. I'm born and brought up in Kolkata, and currently I'm settled in Pune. I'm a solution architect at Principal Global Services, which is a sister organization of Principal Financial Group. I have 14 plus years of experience in doing architecture design and full stack development. I have led delivery teams both within the country and onshore, and I'm passionate about technology and keep learning new things. Apart from work, I have a passion for singing, little punch in for photography, painting, etc. And I'm also a big foodie.
Oh, that's interesting. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile.
hmm
There's so many technologies you have mentioned there. How did you get time to learn so much? I think some 30 odd certifications and in a variety of domains.
Um, I don't know. I think it is a passion that kind of makes me do it. Um, I do sometimes pay a bit for it, like a little less sleep or maybe the weekends, not with family. But it is just that.
Okay.
So if you like something, you have to give some time to it.
And like there is a controversy on this, not exactly controversy, but two opinions on this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say that you should just hold on to one domain and
Mm,
don't look at elsewhere and just excel in that one domain.
mm,
And there's another class of people who say they want to learn everything, want to master everything.
mm.
How do you how would you suggest someone should do it?
Yes, and rather I myself had confusion around it. What should I do? And I thought that I will tell my perspective, then I'll probably talk about what some of the fresh engineers should do. So I did not really want to put myself in a small box and only know a certain thing and know nothing about the other stuff. So because technology is my passion, I really wanted to um, give a shot to, I would say, as much as I could, not going into depth of everything, but knowing couple of things really better. More like a T. There is a um, term, or there is a thing called T understanding. So we can go deep to couple of technologies really deep, and then for some of the others we can go in breadth, and we can know. For example, if you're a if you're a Java programmer, try to learn Go Java really well, and then try to see what are the ORM technologies, J2E and other stuff, and on a high level learn Spring and Hibernate and stuff. So I think I would suggest that to the new fresh engineers, and for the seasoned ones, I would say, I mean, don't box yourself. Just learn whatsoever you want to do.
Okay. And like there's so many certifications along with that. How do you keep up the stamina to get a certificate? And most of the people are happy at watching a video on YouTube.
Mm.
They feel they have learned it and then they go to the next topic. And that's what happens with me. Yeah. I don't have the stamina to complete a certification in something. How do you keep yourself motivated?
I think certification gives you a sense of closure, that you have learned something and you are actually testifying, you're testing yourself, you're learning. And after that, you get a, like I mentioned, sense of closure, sense of achievement, that okay, this is the finish line, I have learned it. You get that confidence. So that kind of gives me the motivation. Okay, I must complete that and have some kind of a um, what should I say, some kind of a uh, testimonial that says that okay, you have learned it, and then from there I can start on the project, or the implementation part of it. And don't worry if you're not getting the certification, it doesn't really matter. I mean, getting these certifications after that, still I'm saying it
Okay.
doesn't matter. If you've learned it, you know how to do that, the implementation part, it is fair enough. But it's just that closure for me.
Okay. So to make sure that you have really learned something, you want to test yourself and
Yeah,
certification is one good way of validating it
yeah.
for your own self.
I think there are certain things we tend to, if something is really hard now, we tend to skip it sometimes. Okay, this part let me skip, and then let me go on with the easier parts, and okay, and then we feel okay, we know, but maybe we do not know it, uh, uh, the entire thing. So the certification will push you to know it all, because it will test you on everything, on all the variants of that technology. So that is another benefit,
Okay,
I can say.
and that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, because it has
Uh,
happened with me.
okay. Yeah, I can see that happening with me as well. So,
Yeah.
okay, so like, how do you choose which is the next topic to learn?
um, there are two things. I see what my organization need is, because that is the parameter that I have straight in front of mine. And there are a lot of things, I cannot really go after everything, so I have that parameter. First thing, that organization, what the organization is looking for, and the second thing is my interest.
Mhm.
So I kind of combine them both, and then I see what would be the next thing for me.
Okay,
So that is what I do.
okay. But have you really used all that you have learned?
Nope.
No.
And that is not, I don't think that is possible.
Okay,
um, I I try to do as much as I can in my organization, or implement, and then the rest I try to do myself,
okay,
and still I cannot cover all of them.
okay,
Yeah, but I would tell you that when you learn something, it stays with you. Maybe not those commands, maybe not those little configurations and definitions, but on a high level, today I know what is automation, what is RPA, um, what is NoSQL, and when architecture or a design comes to me, I know what to put where, based on that understanding. So maybe that is uh, a way of utilizing the learning. I don't know, maybe not in an extensive way, but it stays with you, that I know for sure.
okay. So, coming to that brings us to the next point. Like, what exactly is your work in your workplace? Like, as a solution architect, what is expected out of you?
So we are a finance company, okay,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of legacy applications. um, we still have some servlet and JSF, all those old days technologies left, and a lot of code in mainframe, IBM
Okay,
mainframe and DB2. So my major responsibility is to, whenever a new feature comes, to do the design in a way that we slowly move from whatsoever the legacy applications that we had, slowly move from there to the new technologies that we are kind of leveraging and trying to build our application um, into that. So two part, whatever I create has to be there, and a little bit of modernization of the old application. So what all features I can pull from the old legacy application, and kind of put it into the new technologies. And we are also exploring cloud, so uh, making it cloud native. So these are the main, I would say, 50 to 60, 70% rather, kind of weightage lies into that. And then the rest is more like learning new technologies and understanding the industry trend, how the different organization doing in terms of automation, hyper automation, DevOps, AIML kind of stuff, RPA, and others basically.
okay. So, to what extent do you need to know the technologies in order to be the solution architect? Like, you say you learn things by yourself from various sources. How do you get the confidence to be able to architect a new solution as by learning from yourself?
That's a very good question. Um, so it is not very easy, okay, because you tend to kind of doubt yourself whether my architecture is good, Is it kind of meeting the standards? um, is this enough? Should I include more stuff into it to make it secure, resilient, and available, and stuff like that. But you cannot be perfect. I think that is what I've learned, that you would have your doubt, and still you would go ahead with it. Okay, nothing
Okay.
is perfect, nothing can be perfect. And I also do that. But my learning, like you mentioned, my learning helps a lot. So because I have learned AWS, and I'm also AWS community builder, so these things give me an opportunity to try out different things, go to different channels, meet a lot of thought leaders of industry, and explore different things. So that somewhere, so if I'm creating a cloud native architecture, somewhere I've probably seen something because of these opportunities or learnings, and that helps me to create my design. So
Okay.
that is how it kind of helps. And the confidence part, the more you create these designs, the more you talk to people, the more you fail, the more you succeed, the more confident you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because most of the courses that we see on Udemy or on YouTube or various documents, they talk of very small applications.
Right.
They don't
No,
really give
these
you
are
the
nothing.
confidence for big applications.
No, this is just for learning those courses.
Yeah.
uh, Through that you'll probably know what RDS is, what EC2 is, what ECS is. But to design it for real life applications, you really need to talk to a lot of people. This is AWS.
Yeah.
If you are designing something in Java J2, you probably have a lot of touch points because those are available. But for new technologies, um, you need to do a little more than what it takes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just your own research and more research and more research that gives you that confidence.
Yes, I have reached out to many people who have been designing for years, or
Okay.
who are, this I'm talking about AWS,
Yeah.
who are cloud experts, just to understand if what I'm doing is right,
Okay.
or maybe is enough. I'm not saying is perfect, but at least it can secure my application, or will not fall apart when something happens.
Okay.
So yeah, those kind of research are needed to be done, for sure.
Okay. And who? How did you reach out to those people?
Through So I'm part of AWS community builder team.
Hmm.
I'm also a DevOps Institute ambassador, and I tend to talk to a lot of technologists, because of the learning and my passion. It comes kind of along,
Okay.
and through that I have made a lot of connections. So whether it is on LinkedIn, or maybe other Medium or dev community, different blogging channels, or other social networking platforms like Telegram or WhatsApp. From there I have got a lot of good connections,
Hmm.
and I'm in touch with them. I keep talking to them, and I keep learning from them. So that
Okay.
is how it has happened.
So like, how do you connect with those people? Say you read some blog, you found some, you feel that this person is knowledgeable. What is the
Yeah,
next step?
I just write to them. I congratulate them for their knowledge, for their work, and I tend to talk to them, saying that I'm interested, if we can talk, or if I have a problem statement handy, I just write it to them and try to see, or try to understand their viewpoint. And most of the time I have seen they are very helpful, most of the
Okay.
time. So yeah, we just have to reach out. That's it.
They
That's
are
it.
ready to help.
Yeah, people are really good out there. They're ready to
Okay.
help.
So
Yeah.
just respond on the Medium blog or connect with them on LinkedIn or something like
Yeah,
that.
I'd say LinkedIn is the best platform. um, the community builder platform is not for everyone. That has helped me because I'm a community builder. But yeah, I think LinkedIn would be the best platform for
Okay.
everyone. Yeah.
Okay. And you also said you're part of some DevOps community. What was that?
It is DevOps Institute. There's a community called DevOps Institute,
Okay.
and I'm an ambassador there.
Okay.
They are
Good.
really pioneering on different DevOps tools and technologies and practices and stuff like that. And
Okay.
they have a good association with DevOps.com, DevOps India, and DevOps International, communities,
Hmm.
and they do a lot of collaboration. So tremendous opportunity basically there.
Okay. How did you enter that group?
So they have a form basically, and I had to submit it with all the things that I have done. I mean, for the community, for my learning, and stuff like that. So I put in all that, and they like they probably found it suitable, so they chosen me. So
Okay.
it was a selection. There is a selection process.
Okay. You applied for it and they selected you.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many members are there? Like AWS community
Um.
is growing now.
Ha. AWS community I think is big, around 1500 or so.
Yep.
DevOps one I think 150, 200 or something
Okay. All over the
like
world.
that. All over the world, yes.
It must be
Not
really,
exactly right, maybe right about the number. I
but
don't.
that
It's not by
range.
heart. Ha, but around that something.
And it's really filtered community then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That's
think so.
nice. About DevOps, there's one big obstacle that most of us face. Like
Mm,
there are too many technologies,
mm,
like, too many tools. By the time you master one, there are 10 more in the market.
right.
How do you keep pace with that?
So I have started my professional journey with DevOps. Okay.
Okay.
So I kind of have had a very good strong foundation on DevOps because of that. Um, and then in principle, I initially was a DevOps head in the respective BU, and there I actually saw principal is a very good has a very good end-to-end automated DevOps infrastructure,
Mm.
and it gave me a lot of understanding or learning about how an organization can adopt. Okay, so coming to your question, um, we really need to see what the organization is in need of. Okay, if it's about personal learning, you can probably go for the ones that are really in demand right now. But if it's about organization, we need to understand what the organization is in need of. If the business wants a very rapid kind of deployment, and very less empty mean time to recovery, no downtime, and stuff like that, then definitely you have to go for some of the industry leading technologies or tools that we have currently. And I mean, there are a lot of probably would need another interview to just discuss
Okay.
DevOps. It's huge for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to what extent should one learn these technologies? Because a lot of effort is spent in just learning the syntax or the commands. You also need to know the core concept, but along with that,
Mm,
you need to learn the specifics. And most of these cannot be tried at home.
right.
How did you go about it?
um, I would say that it depends on the level where you are right now, the experience level. If you are a fresher to till a 5 to 6 years, 0 to 5 to 6 years experience range, I would say to be more hands-on, try to understand the commands and the configurations more, and definitely get an understanding of how it works on a high level, like the architecture, but not to go deep into the architecture. If it's 10 to 20 to 20, 15 to 20 kind of range for the professionals, then do not go so much into the commands or the configurations, rather try to understand how the architecture it, how it best fits into your system. If you have a huge DevOps system end to end, how really it fits into, does it really fit, do you need to go for some other, and that point you can also be technology agnostic and not be very specific to maybe uh, Terraform or CloudFormation or CDK or Ansible or Chef. Maybe try to understand what kind of tool would best fit your system, would best fit and you can integrate really well with the other systems, and not really learn Terraform command at that point. So it kind of helps you with your respective responsibilities. But again, I would not say that limit yourself. You can go for the commands and configurations under 20 years of experience, and you can also learn the architecture being a fresher. So that completely on
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, like other obstacle is that I cannot test it on my laptop at home. Like for example, if I want to learn for web design, I want to
Hmm.
learn Angular or React, I can
Hmm.
just install it on my laptop and get started. But
Hmm.
if I
Hmm.
want to learn Kubernetes
Hmm.
or Docker, my laptop is not sufficient for me.
Right.
So
Agree.
how should one go about it?
So I have learned Docker on my laptop. There are ways. Okay, so
Okay,
many providers would give you, uh, you know, that kind of, it will create on your desktop. It will create a virtualized environment. So different kind of softwares are there. It not necessarily need to divide your physical server and then create that virtualization, but it will create it on top of it and it will help you. So I think Kubernetes I have not so far used. Okay, I have read about it but I have not used. But Docker I have done.
okay.
It is difficult, it is not very easy, because I probably took 7 days for me to configure, just configure and
Oh,
let it start. There are different configuration that I had to do on system manager level. um, but I think it is not, it is, I wouldn't say it is impossible, but if you cannot do it on your laptop, maybe you can go for AWS EKS, you know
okay,
and do it there, because it is already inbuilt Kubernetes installed on the system, and you can do it there. So
okay.
there would be different ways to do it if you really want it.
You have to find out based on the technology you're learning.
Yes, right. True.
But there are ways. It's not impossible. You can learn.
Absolutely.
You can learn it by yourself.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Now another point is like, yeah, you have over the last 14 or 15 years, have gathered a, a rich knowledge of the IT industry. What would you tell the graduates or freshers, like how should one become like you?
Uh, I don't know if I'm the the best version of it. If I should say that someone should become like me. Um, but I think I would say that to give your best to everything that you're doing right now. Okay, so this is for the freshers or the fresh graduates. Um, I would ask them to do hard work and not just learn something for the sake of getting a job or for the sake of learning it, or maybe passing the examination, but to learn it, really learn it. Okay, understand the concept, see how it fits in the system, and if you have to go beyond your subject to learn it, then do it, and do not stop yourself. I think there was a dialogue in these Three Idiot movies. um, Kamiyabi, uh, what was that?
Success के पीछे मत भागो, excellence.
हाँ, बच्चा काबिल बनो. I wrote it. बच्चा काबिल बनो, कामयाबी तो झक मार के पीछे भागेगी. So it means that be capable. Success will follow you no matter what. So I believe in that. So do hard work, learn it properly, implement it, and I think you'd go far. That is my mantra.
Okay, but
Yeah, or advice.
capability again in the IT industry is has a different components to it. Just technical capability is not enough.
Right.
What else does it take in your role?
I think it is better to start. on the interpersonal skills, okay, the communication skills a bit right away where you are. There are a lot of things that will learn when you are in the job. Okay, I should not say that you learn it now, because you will not really be able to do it unless you are there, unless you have succeeded, or unless you have failed, you have been scolded, um, you could not implement something. Maybe those will give you the learnings on the field. You cannot get it before you enter the job. But what you can do is you can prepare yourself for that. Okay, do not do not think that I'll get heartbroken when I failed. So be prepared that it is going to happen. It is, and it is completely okay. Take those chances, take those failures, those learnings as your opportunities. Whenever you get a new challenge which is extremely difficult, take it as an opportunity, as a blessing, and be happy that I'm going to learn something. Don't think that I'll fail or I'll succeed, but just think that you'll learn. So that start growing that mentality, those interpersonal skills. Having good relationship in our organization really matters. How to communicate, not to miscommunicate, or not to communicate, those things are problematic. So just learn the basic things: communication and relationships building, and stuff like that. Those would definitely help you going forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So again, can you lay out some roadmap for a fresh graduate or who is coming out of just a fresher in the industry, or somebody who is still a student?
When
What
you say a roadmap,
what
what?
should they start learning today, and then what then?
I think I would say, because the industry is, you are talking from technology perspective, right?
In every sense.
Okay.
And
Okay, so if I take technology first, I would say learn whatsoever there in your syllabus. Okay. um, Pick couple of subjects and do really good at that. For example, if you have Java, if you have Python, um, pick one, maybe Python, pick that, and be really good at it. Really good, I mean, try to get around 90-95%. And I mean, I'm not saying that we don't good at others, but really be good at one thing. And then, because the industry is in a, right now we are in an era where we are in digital transformation. So see if you can pick up some subject or some technology that is relevant, maybe AWS, for example, cloud, or Azure. Or maybe don't pick a lot of things, because that can be difficult for a fresher or a graduate. Or maybe pick the basics of artificial intelligence, or maybe RPA, something like that, and learn it again. And I think that would give you that edge, that immediately after joining an organization you can start implementing those learnings. Or it'll be, at least you'll not be very blank, that where am I, what am I going to do, I'm not understanding anything. So those things will give you some understanding of how to start, basically, in the organization. And when it comes to the soft skill part, I think communication is very important. I would put more significance to that, the learning of communication. And by communication, I don't necessarily mean only how you need to communicate in English or in Hindi, or maybe some language, but try to understand when communication is important. If your manager is expecting you to communicate something at the end of the day, don't just skip it just because you think maybe the work is done, I do not need to communicate, I'm good. So that kind of understanding is needed. How the team members are, what are the expectations of your team members, how your stakeholders are expecting. um, just those communication, maybe just a one liner communication may calm down a stakeholder. Okay, things are going fine, I do not need to worry. If you just keep calm, or if you maybe write hundred of words, both may do not work for that person. So that kind of communication, and then relationship building, is important. So that we just need to kind of look into.
Okay.
Yeah.
And beyond that, then you learn based on the job that you get, or do you believe in driving your career based on your aspiration, or just take assignments as your company of gives you?
I would say do both. Don't completely, stop following your aspirations, and obviously you have to, do what your company is giving you those tasks. So do a mix of it. Maybe try add a little essence of your creativity into the work you are doing. Maybe if you are working in Java, maybe create a POC in Python and tell them, see how Python can be really important for this particular requirement of for this particular use case, and show them that. Try to convince them. So I would say, don't stop to, don't stop your dreams. Keep dreaming and include it in your work. If you
Okay.
are an entrepreneur, then I mean, then that's completely your field. But in an organization, you can definitely mix both of it.
Okay. But you have given good points about your own journey and about how uh, newcomers to the industry should pick up and establish themselves. Really, some interesting points you put forth.
Thank you.
I'm sure our audience will be able to benefit from this.
Yeah, I hope
Thanks
so.
a lot for joining us. It's
Thank you so much,
really nice.
Vikas, for having me.